You're listening to Cosmic Cousins' new and full moon podcast ritual. I am your host, Jeff Henshaw. Cosmic Cousins is an esoteric astrological resource for you to come home to yourself, to realign with the rhythms of the moon, and to reconnect with your deeper knowings. And we do that all through embodied help, self-discovery, and deeper learning. Hey, Cosmic Cousins. Thank you for tuning into this show. And if you knew how many times I recorded that intro just now, you'd be laughing with me too. So you might hear, if you listen to the show regularly, you might recognize that the intro to the show has changed. And so I have a podcast announcement and update for you here on this beautiful Cancer new moon. So, the Cosmic Cousins podcast has been active for almost 3 years. And so, with that being said, the format and the subject of the show has continued to evolve and grow with our ever-changing times. And over the past 6 months, there's been a shift in focus toward honoring the new and full moon. This has just kind of happened intuitively for me because it's been really important for me to ground at this time and to come back to be paying attention to the moon is something that we've been doing because we've been invited home, many of us, with social distancing in place. And when we go home, this is the realm of the moon. And so we've been connecting to the new and full moon, and I've also been incorporating more of a focus on the tarot. So y'all know this if you've been listening to the show, but in an effort to support you and our community, I'm upgrading the subtitle of the podcast from Cosmic Cousins Soul-Centered Astrology, which has such a ring to it when I'm saying it right now. So we're upgrading it from that to Cosmic Cousins New and Full Moon Podcast Ritual. I think this is important. By shifting the name, this helps us to shift the way that we're interacting with it. And so I want you to come to this space. I don't want you to. I'm inviting you to come to this space as a ritual on each new and full moon. And so this transformation, it's been in the making for some time, but now with the upgrade to this subtitle, it is my hopes that it will allow for a more conscious focus and shift in the direction of this offering, what is to be expected from this offering, this podcast, and the way that you show up to it too. So from here on out, I want you to be secure in knowing that the Cosmic Cousins podcast is a safe and reliable resource for you to come home to yourself through ritual, through astrology, through tarot meditation. So when you sit down for this podcast, maybe you do actually carve out some time where you can be with your tarot cards or where you can build a little altar, or maybe not. Maybe you continue to drive your car or go on a walk or whatever you do when you listen to this podcast. But know that I am making a big shift here because I just moved into a new home. And so this is the first podcast episode I'm recording for you in my new home. And it is the Cancer moon, which is all about home. And so I'm just really reflecting on this energy of the moon and how impactful it's been for us this year. Because really, we've had the North Node in Cancer for the last year and a half, and this Cancer new moon is going to close out that North Node axis of the Cancer Capricorn axis. So we'll talk about that more in a moment. But this idea of home is important. The esoteric phrase for Cancer, as channeled by the late astrologer Alice Bailey, is this. So this is the esoteric phrase for Cancer. All 12 signs have one. And they really spark off a lot of deeper insight when you sit with them. And so I'm going to offer this one for you for this new moon. So the phrase for Cancer is, I build a lighted house and therein dwell. I build a lighted house and therein dwell. So on this Cancer new moon, we are reminded of the importance of ritual in our lives, coming back home to ourselves. So a safe space to bring us deeper clarity and assurance, to realign us with the rhythms of the cosmos. This is why we practice astrology, right? And so things to look forward to with the design of this new podcast ritual offering: a deeper connection to the new and full moon. This is a reliable space for intimate ritual. I'll always be building an altar, and I'll provide for you altar instruction and reflections, things you can do at home. And I hope to bring a harmonious integration of astrology with tarot through that altar building. And so that's the update there. But also, I will still be offering astrological transits, like current astrological transits that are important too. So we'll still have all of that. And so again, it's my hopes that this new format will offer you greater guidance at this time. I do realize some of you may miss the previous version of the podcast. Some of you that have been here since the beginning, you saw Trash Canyon, you saw the Zodiac Queens project. I used to have people on the show where I'd interview them, I'd have panels, these sort of things. And these facets of the show I intend to bring back at some point in the future. But for now, I'm being called to really shift gears towards the more healing and lunar aspects of my astrological practice. So thank you for being here and evolving with Cosmic Cousins. It's an honor to be of support for you in this way. And so at this time, let's transition into our Cancer New Moon podcast ritual. I process, I reset, I return back home. These are the three phrases I have for us here for the Cancer New Moon. I process, I reset, I return back home. I encourage you to write these phrases down, meditate on them. You could also fill in the blank and elaborate on them. So this Cancer New Moon is at the 28th degree and 26th minute of Cancer on July 20th, 2020 at 10:32 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So with this new format of the show, we talked about how we are going to connect to ritual and altar building. So I'm going to start off building my altar for this Cancer New Moon. I'll share with you why I'm putting certain things on my altar. Altar building is a really important part of my astrological practice because astrology is such a cosmic tool that it allows us to tune into these higher frequencies. It activates the third eye, activates the crown chakra, but it's so important for us to ground that energy here in the physical realm. And so by placing items out, this helps us to connect to the energy in a practical, tangible, real way. It allows us to draw the energy down from the cosmos, down the manifestation current to bring it here. It's similar to the magician in the tarot. You could even get the magician card out to look at this while we're talking about it. But the magician has a table in front of them, right? And the magician does represent the manifestation current. This is drawing energy from the cosmos. We have a wand pointing up towards the sky and drawing it down through the body, through the chakra centers, all the way to the root, through the finger. You'll see the magician has their finger pointing towards the ground. And so that's that flow of energy, right? But what I'm trying to say is that the magician also has a table in front of them. And this table is like an altar. And on that altar, you'll see there's 4 items present, representing the 4 elements: earth, air, fire, water. And so on my altars, I will always have all 4 elements present in some form or fashion. If you want to look along at my altar that I've created, you can go to my Instagram account, or you can sign up for my newsletter, which there's a link in the show notes for that. So on my altar, what I have, I'm going to start first with, of course, the centerpiece, which is the beautiful Frida Kahlo. So I placed my dream journal, which Cancer is connected to dreams, with Frida Kahlo pictured on the front. Frida Kahlo was named Queen of Cancer by you, the Cosmic Cousins community. And Frida Kahlo was an incredible activist during the Mexican Revolution. How does she most deeply connect us to Cancer? Let's talk about it. So, even though she was an incredible activist during the Mexican Revolution, she was not on the front lines in the streets protesting. And a lot of this was due to certain health conditions that she had. And so instead, she dedicated much of her artwork towards processing her emotions and grief around her cultural heritage and ancestors. This is very Cancerian. Cardinal is activist energy, but it's water, it's emotional, it's processing. And she did that at home. But what she did do was she inspired many to look inward in search of deeper meaning amongst the very external changes that were occurring in the world. So for those of us who are more empathic and sensitive, Frida Kahlo reminds us to take sweet, gentle care of ourselves emotionally as well as physically. So it's much more internal and introverted, right? This Cancerian energy. And her force and presence exudes this strength of tenderness in the face of opposition. She reminds us on this Cancer new moon that healing and community care are a force to be reckoned with, that you don't have to be out active in the streets to be contributing. So I'm offering that to anyone who needs to hear that right now. Frida Kahlo was also known to open the doors to her home, though, right? She didn't just escape from the world. She was very active in the world. This is cardinal, active water, active with the emotions. So she prepared meals for activists. She provided childcare for community members in need. She served as a powerful reminder. She serves as a powerful reminder for all of us on this Cancer new moon to honor all of the individuals that are continuing to protest for the Black Lives Matter movement, as well as a reminder for us to honor essential workers, doctors, nurses who are tirelessly working the front lines in the face of COVID-19. Doctors, nurses, essential workers, these are all themes that connect us to cancer care, right? So Frida Kahlo is here on the altar in the center. She's encouraging healers, artists, empaths to continue to ask the question, in what ways can we use our natural gifts and our sensitive gifts to offer better support and care to those in need? So I'm going to ask that again. And this could be something for you to journal about or reflect on, but in what ways can we use our natural and sensitive gifts to offer better support and care to those in need? So I got Frida Kahlo there in the center, and then I've got some other items here. So another item I placed on this altar is a photo of my mother holding 2-year-old me. This is in 1989. Mom, this is Cancer. Honor your mother if it feels safe for you on this altar. Honor yourself as a mother, if you are, and honor other mothers in your life who you look up to. So my mother is a breast cancer survivor. Cancer rules over the breast. My mom has taught me so much about perseverance and unconditional love. So I'm honoring her on this Cancer new moon. I also have seashells gifted to me by my nephew, who is a sweet Cancer moon. My nephew's 9 years old, and this week his parents made the hard decision to not send him and his sister back to school this fall. Instead, they are opting out for online homeschooling. Again, care and home with Cancer. So with this item, with these sweet little seashells that he gifted me, I'm acknowledging the perseverance of our little ones, too, who are fearlessly processing the many changes that are occurring in our world. My heart goes out to all the kids and also to the parents who are doing their best to ensure safety and love. Also here on this altar, I've got some pink rose petals, which I was saying earlier that the roses, I think I was saying that earlier, that the roses are connecting us to Cancer, right? And so I just moved to Portland, Oregon, which is also known as the Rose City. The hospitality here is contagious. Anyone I've told that I'm new here, they just welcome me with open arms in a social distancing kind of way. But they say, welcome to the Rose City. So these rose petals are from my dear friend's garden, and my friend is a Cancer sun. So lots of Cancer energy going on here, but the pink rose is a Cancerian symbol for many reasons. It's a symbol of sympathy, condolences, femininity, and grace. The pink rose reminds me of my dearly departed grandmother's Helen and Clarice, who both had roses at their funeral. So grief, grandmother, loss of a loved one, particularly family members. All the water signs rule over death and release. Cancer is connecting us to the loss of a loved one that is a family member. So when that happens in your life, you are engaging with the energy of Cancer, whether or not you are a Cancer. That's the cool thing about astrology, is it gives us a vocabulary for understanding the world we're in. So this is a new moon where some of us might be moving through grief of the loss of a family member. So I'm also honoring, and we all are honoring, anyone who has passed away this year here on this Cancer new moon, while also honoring anyone who's given birth. New babies too, right? Mom, kid, our dearly departed. We can honor all of this on the Cancer new moon. So this new moon also happens to fall on my grandma Helen's birthday, July 20th. So she was a Cancer. So it's a time for us to honor our grandmothers, our grandfathers, but particularly the matriarchal line, our grandmothers and our great-grandmothers. I also have on this altar a beautiful watercolor painting of a house. And so this is a painting of the house that I stayed in. The owner was Shelley, who's a Cancer, another Cancer. It was her artist studio that she rents out as a house. And I stayed there during the months of March and April in Northern California. And this was a safe haven for me in the face of uncertainty with the unfolding news of COVID-19. So I'm honoring that time, just the safety of a Cancerian home. So all of us on this Cancer new moon, it's a time for us to honor our home, our apartment, our landlord, our caretakers, all of these themes in our life. I also have keys on this altar. I just moved into this new home, so it's the keys to my new home. And after nearly a year of unrest and living situations, I finally landed here in Portland. I have a lot of really close friends here who are like family, so it does feel like I'm coming home. By the way, Portland is a Scorpio sun, a Gemini moon, and an Aquarius rising. So I share the Aquarius rising with Portland. Scorpio sun, Gemini moon, this is the same combo as Parker Posey. And for some reason that felt very Portland to me. So anyone who knows Portland, how does Portland connect you to these three astrological energies? This makes Portland a discerning Scorpion, Scorpio sun, in your neighbor's backyard, Gemini moon, bringing people together in a circle, Aquarius rising. I'm already feeling into that in many ways, but I'm curious if anyone lives in Portland, what you might have to say about that. So yeah, I just moved into this new home. I'm in my own studio apartment, which is the first time as an adult I will be completely living on my own. So I'm honoring the security of that and coming home to myself on this Cancer new moon. Something else you can do that I think is really cool for Cancerian energy is to charge your water. So be sure to connect with water on this Cancer new moon. If you aren't able to go to a river, a lake, a stream, or the ocean, you can just charge your water. And so I have inside this mason jar, this glass of water, I've placed some polished amethyst, lapis, and opalite. So charging water with crystals is really simple. It's sweet. It's also magical. It's a great way to bless your water with mindfulness, intention, and healing. Just make sure that the stones are polished so they don't deteriorate in the water, though. And then finally, I usually will always put a tarot card out. Today, I want to talk to you about the Knight of Cups. Put the Knight of Cups out. I use this to represent Cancer, Cardinal Knight Water Cup. So the Knight of Cups, when we look at this card, the horse that the knight is on kind of feels like a pony. It's moving very gracefully. I call it the limp-wristed pony. So there is a sensitivity here. And the knight is offering water. So imagine that someone comes in on a horse and offers you a cup of water. Right? This is really powerful invitation. Knights are messengers. They're deliverers. And so this is the deliverer of healing, the healing waters. The Knight of Cups offers kinship, connection, and romance. So some of these might be themes that we are moving through at this time on this Cancer new moon. But within the knight's reins, the knight holds the powerful force to cleanse past hurt in relationship. Whether that is cleansing past hurt in a romantic relationship our personal relationship, our familial relationship. We're moving through that at this time. So the Knight of Cups, it invites us on this Cancer new moon into an empowered space. How can you embody the Knight of Cups at this time? The Knight of Cups invites us into an empowered space where we learn to harness our watery emotional and psychic energy so that we can move forward, cardinal, knight, in the direction of more beautiful, harmonious relationships. So I release, right? I reset. We're resetting things on the heart. We're releasing things on the heart on this Cancer new moon here, nearly at the anaretic degree of Cancer, right? 28th degree. So the anaretic degree is the final degree of a sign. And so that is my Cancer new moon altar. I'm curious if you'll create one. And if you do, you can always tag me on social media and post it on Instagram, and I'll repost it. I'd love to see, and so would everyone else. So let's dive into these Cancerian waters and see what sort of invitations we have for us. So as you listen to what I have to say, you could gaze at the Knight of Cups, you could gaze at your altar you built. I process, I reset, I return back home. This Cancer new moon, it closes out eclipse season. We've been in eclipse season for the past 6 to 8 weeks. It's also closing out, and it marks the official end of the Cancer-Capricorn Nodal Axis. So this axis we have only once every 18 years. So this is the end of an 18-year cycle and the initiation of an 18-year cycle. The North Node of Fate won't return back to Cancer for this 18-year period. So there have been massive opportunities for karmic release over this past year and a half around Cancer and Capricorn themes. This new moon acts as a moment to reflect on these transitions as we pass through the threshold of this final release. Whatever upgrades and shifts you're experiencing in your life right now, you might feel that they begin to settle into place on this Cancer new moon. So now is a time for processing these changes that are occurring in your life. New moons like us to go internal. I remember when I was living in a tent in Hawaii that on the new moon night, you can't see, so you're going to bed pretty early. So it's a time to slow down. It's a time for processing the changes that are occurring in your life, particularly around the Cancerian themes, but also processing the changes that are occurring in the collective too. So allow whatever emotions want to arise to the surface to rise. You can imagine them like waves swelling upon the shore. Cancer connects us to the energy of a wave, right? The ocean, the moon. This is all Cancer. So an example of this Cancer new moon release that is not just a little release, it's like a massive karmic release, I have seen reflected in our community by the announcement of Maha Rose Healing Center closing. So Maha Rose, for those of you who don't know, was like a mother to many healers in New York City. She provided a safe haven for workshops and healing sessions. So Cancer themes, right? Maha Rose is like a mother, Cancer, to many healers, also Cancer, and provided a safe haven, also Cancer, for workshops and healing sessions, also Cancer. So this is reflecting Cancer to us. This is where I began my journey as a tarot reader, a teacher, and an astrologer. So to know that this center is closing, and particularly due to COVID-19, is just one of the many losses that we have experienced this year. But I imagine in your life you might be experiencing a similar situation of some sort of release like this. When I saw the announcement posted on Instagram, I was surprised by the emotional response that I had to it. Tears began streaming down my face, and I actually went and bought some vegan ice cream and was just like, wow, this is really Cancer. So I was just reflecting. It was very nostalgic. I was recalling all the many memories that took place here at Maha Rose. I co-led tarot group with Lindsay Mack, the Brooklyn Fools Tarot Journey. I did the live podcast recording for the Cosmic Cousins podcast when we crowned Queen of Sagittarius Tina Turner. So it's sad when something closes, but the love remains. And also they'll continue to hold space. They're transforming. They'll still have their retreat centers in upstate New York and Mexico. So there is still a transformation, right? And we'll be feeling that. We're releasing, we're transforming. So why do we have 2 Cancer new moons this year, right? Each year there are 13 moon cycles, but we only have 12 astrological signs. So every year there will be 2 new moons that will be in the same sign, and they'll be back to back. And so this year we're gifted back-to-back new moons in the cardinal water sign of Cancer. So this acts as a touchstone lesson for the year. Whatever moon's repeating, I always look to as a major internal or unconscious lesson for the year. So this year it's Cancer. And I mean, we've been invited back home with social distancing. We've been invited into deeper self-care. So this acts as the second new moon here in the same sign. It acts as the axle to the spinning wheel of 2020. Doesn't it feel like we've been spinning? This Cancer new moon right now is the axle to the wheel. So this second Cancer new moon, it's encouraging us into stillness. It's encouraging us into a deep realignment with the lunar feminine. In case we didn't get it the first time around, on the first Cancer new moon, we're now offered another chance to get really clear on the Cancerian themes in our lives. So it's a reset. It's a maturation around home, security, family, mother, the past, community care, healthcare, self-care, all the Cancerian themes, okay? So we were saying it's nearly occurring at the anaretic degree. The anaretic degree is the final degree of a sign. So this new moon is at the 28th degree of Cancer. This is shifting us from early degree new moons to later degree new moons. This is culmination, right? When we're at the end of a sign. This is completion. This is release. This Cancer energy coming up on the Leo cusp, right? We're about to start Leo season. This is Robin Williams. Robin Williams is a Cancer, close to the energy of Leo. So this is marking a turning point in our year. First half of 2020, we experienced new moons in the earlier degrees within the first few days of an astrological sun season. This has felt really realigning and recentering in ways. It's felt clear and direct to have a new moon right at the beginning of the season, but at times it also might have felt a little immature or a little ripe with potential. Now we shift. For the remainder of 2020, from this point on, we're going to experience new moons at the end of the astrological sun season. So this is marking a shift for us this second half of the year towards more reflection, cultivation, awareness, maturity, emotional responsibility. So how have you grown emotionally this year? We're about to find out. So we're moving forward into the second half of 2020, and I'm asking this question to myself and also to you. What changes are you willing to make to hold yourself more accountable for your spiritual practices? The Cancer new moon at the 28th degree wants to know, what changes are you willing to make to hold yourself more accountable for your spiritual practices? Boom. And this is not just the Cancer new moon speaking. This is also the opposition to Saturn and Capricorn at the 28th degree. So the responsibility of holding yourself accountable is quite prominent on this Cancer new moon. At the 28th degree of Cancer, this new moon is in an exact opposition to Saturn, the planet of spiritual adulting, in the sign of Capricorn, the dependable, responsible sea goat climbing the mountain of enlightenment at the 28th degree. So they're right looking across the wheel at each other, right? Cancer new moon and Frida Kahlo looking across the wheel at Saturn and Michelle Obama. So this is huge. Obstacles and delays with businesses. This is Saturn and Capricorn. Obstacles and delays with government, environment, patriarchal constructs. Does this sound familiar? This is all Saturn and Capricorn's domain. We've been in it since the end of 2018. So this Cancer new moon opposing it is bringing closures and releases to Capricorn themes as well. We see businesses closing, Capricorn, that are also healing centers, Cancer. So this is urging us to balance the often serious and strict Saturnian energy by refocusing, reshifting towards home, family, nurturance, and care. We see this polarity present in relationship to our government, right? Government is Capricorn, and we see the government prioritizing economy, profit, and wealth, And this is often driven by greed and fear. All of this is Capricorn. So the government's prioritizing this over Cancer, safety, healthcare, mothers, the well-being of community members. So we are becoming more conscious of this polarity on this new moon, and it might be sad. It might bring up some emotion. It could also make us angry. I mean, Cancer is not just sad. Cancer is also this cardinal sign. And so it's meeting this crescendo on this Cancer new moon. Without the help of community members, we cannot have a thriving economy. This new moon of 2020, the second Cancer new moon, it's huge. It's acting as a reset in the collective unconscious. This is the moon that's realigning us with the importance of the lunar feminine. So on this Cancer new moon, open yourself up to the receptivity of lunar light. Breathe it into your etheric body. So this time, let's transition into a little meditation for embodied health. Deep, nourishing inhale. You can connect to the breast, the rib cage, and the belly. These are the three areas that connect us to Cancerian energy. So I'd like to invite you to place one hand on the belly and one hand on the rib cage. So we're going to practice Durga Pranayama, which is Sanskrit for a 3-part breath. I learned this when I was teaching yoga. So Durga Pranayama. So you're going to take a deep inhale into the belly, and then you're going to continue to breathe into the rib cage. And you can feel the belly rise as you breathe into it, and then feel the rib cage expand. And then bring that breath up to the breast, into the chest. So breathing into the belly, this is all one breath, breathing into the rib cage. And then as you get up to the chest, you can take the hand that was on the belly and bring it up to the chest. And then you'll exhale all in one from the chest, the rib cage. You can place the hand that was on the chest on the belly, and then from the belly. So it's nice, long, deep inhales, and then deep, nourishing exhales. This is Durga Pranayama. And you may find that it begins to connect you to the internal rhythm that is similar to that of the ocean. And so if you restrict the throat and breathe out of the nose, you might feel that there is the sound of the ocean that's created in your throat. If you want to deepen your connection to this, I'm sure you could look up 3-part breathing on YouTube and find someone explain it in a really cool way. But anyway, so we're going to connect to that breath. 3-part breathing, breathing into the belly, the rib cage, and the chest. Exhaling from the chest, the rib cage, the belly. This is connecting us to Cancer's parts of the body. If you are a Cancer, or you have strong Cancerian energy, or you're moving through Cancerian energy, practicing 3-part breathing is really, really helpful. It's very nurturing, it's very grounding, but it also unlocks emotions for us. So what's something in your life that you have not fully processed? Something in your personal life that you have not fully processed? For me, what's coming to mind is, holy shit, I just moved to a new city amongst this wild year that is 2020. And my Mars and Aries ass has been, getting furniture and doing everything and nonstop. And here on this Cancer new moon, I'm reminded to slow down. Whoa. Time to process my emotions. So what are you processing in your life right now? Breathe that into the belly. Breathe it into the rib cage, breathe it into the chest. And then exhale, I release, right? I process, I reset. I come back home to myself. What part of you is consistent while the world is changing, while your life is changing? That's coming home to yourself, to your soul, to your spirit. We're doing that here on this Cancer new moon. I build a lighted house and therein dwell. So we're processing something in our individual life. And so you can continue this exercise. You can process other things, process things going on in the collective, you can process things going on with family members, whatever space you want to carve out for this 3-part breathing. I process, I reset, I come back home to myself. It's here for you. So at this time, we'll transition into the second part of the show where we'll continue to talk about the Cancer new moon. But first, I have a little announcement. So right now, Mars is in Aries. I know we're shifting gears a little bit, but it's okay because Mars in Aries is all about that. It's squaring this energy here. We have a lot in Aries in the sky right now. We've got Mars, Chiron, Black Moon, Lilith, Eris, the goddess of discord, the warrior feminine. There's a lot in Aries right now. A lot of us are starting brand new beginnings with this Aries energy, reminding ourselves of who we are, our identity, our very sense of self in the world, taking care of ourself, being activists, putting our energy out there in a very fierce way. This is all Aries energy here. And so Mars in Aries is coming in and kicking up all of these themes for us. And so for us to fully understand the impact of the year 2020 from an astrological perspective, it's important for us to take into consideration the planet Aries. It's at home in the sign of Aries for the entire second half of 2020. So we're gifted the opportunity to get really intimate with this fiery planet of action, which is why I've created a 4-hour workshop download and digital workbook. Mars Divine Ambition is what I'm calling it. Mars Divine Ambition, an intuitive journey of self-realization. So in this workshop, we dive into Mars's archetypal symbolism. We learn how Mars encourages us both as individuals and in the collective to evolve through the shadow manifestations of Mars, which is violence, aggression, and war, and into the higher attributes of courage, self-realization, and radical love. We all have the opportunity over the next 6 months with Mars in Aries. Mars is going to retrograde in Aries too. That's why it's in a sign for 6 months, to really get to know Mars in our own chart. So if you're curious about how to work with Mars, if you're curious, if you're longing to ground down into a deeper understanding of the soul-centered attributes of Mars through ritual and learning, then this workshop download is for you. I refer to Mars as a planet of divine ambition. So you'll connect with that in this workshop download. We'll also discover how to utilize this energy of Mars to harness your cardinal birthrights. Mars is really here for us as an ally to empower us to show up as individuals to this life, bigger, bolder, and more aligned with our innate capacity to create new life in alignment with the evolution of our planet. This is really important for us in the second half of 2020. We're also in an Emperor year, which is connected to Mars and Aries. So if you're wanting to connect with this planet, if you are an Aries yourself or a Scorpio, because Mars is your esoteric ruling planet, or if you feel like you might have challenges with Mars, then this would be a great ritual workshop for you. And so we're open right now for pre-enrollment. It started right here on the Cancer new moon. The pre-enrollment rate is set. The price will go up on the Aquarius full moon in 2 weeks. And then the workshop download will be sent to you on August 18th, 2020, which is the Leo full moon. I have some really cool reasons why I selected the Leo full moon as the release for this Mars workshop. For one, that Leo new moon, the Leo new moon, not full moon. The Leo new moon will be trine Mars and Aries on that day. So it's a powerful time for us to connect to Mars. And that'll be in a month on the Leo new moon. So again, there's a link in the show notes if you want to learn more about this Mars workshop, Divine Ambition, an intuitive journey of self-realization. You can check out the notes there. It's only $60 to take this workshop download if you sign up in the next 2 weeks. And so I encourage you, if you're wanting to deepen your studies, this would be a really great way to do it. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. So you can also send me an email in regards to that. Again, all the links up in the show notes. So that's the Mars Workshop download announcement. I also offer astrology readings. And so I'm booked up through July, but I have some openings in August and also through September and the rest of the year. If you want to snag those spots up, I would be honored to hold space for you in a 2-hour deep dive astrology reading. We'll go deep into the soul-centered aspects of your chart, how to connect with the energy in a way that aligns you with your cosmic energy. I offer a really cool objective perspective, and it brings me joy to connect with people through astrology readings. So again, links in the show notes for readings as well. Okay, so there's a few more things that I just want to touch on with this Cancer new moon. Thank you for shifting gears. You can feel the Mars and Aries energy. Really, Eris and Aries is squaring Saturn and Capricorn in the Cancer new moon. So there's also that tension too, and we can feel that with activists right now. We can feel it with, people cussing you out if you decide to go to the grocery store. Whatever happens, that didn't happen to me, but I imagine it could be happening. I feel there's like that heightened energy, but this Cancer new moon is calling us back into this emotional space where we're allowing ourselves the time to process. That's our personal life. But in the collective, we were talking about how this is connecting us to economy, profit, the government prioritizing economy and profit, Saturn and Capricorn, over the healthcare and the well-being of community members. So we left off when we were talking about this as this new moon of 2020. It's acting as a reset in the collective unconscious that's realigning us with the importance of the lunar feminine. So we said, open yourself up to the receptivity of lunar light at this time. Breathe it into the etheric body. And although it's going to take time to reveal itself in tangible ways, because we're in this death and rebirth process of Pluto and Capricorn, this is a slow transformation in the patriarchy, Pluto and Capricorn. Stay focused on the change that you wish to see in the world, particularly as it relates to the lunar feminine. Pluto remains in the patriarchal sign of Capricorn until 2024. So this new moon, it's offering us a glimpse into the changes that await in the coming years. So we're still in this for another 4 years, this transformation in Capricorn. So this Cancer new moon, right? This is a question for reflection for us. This Cancer new moon in opposition to Capricorn Saturn, it's asking us, what new structures are you implementing in your life to build a more sustainable future for the earth and her inhabitants? I'm going to ask that again. Saturn and Capricorn's not messing around. What new structures are you implementing in your life to build a more sustainable future for the earth and her inhabitants? The new structures I'm implementing is a shift in this podcast and a shift towards distancing from social media so I can focus on being more of service to you in a healing way. So what new structures are you implementing in your life? Another question I have for reflection with this Cancer new moon in opposition to Capricorn Saturn is, how are you taking responsibility for your most public self? This is Saturn in Capricorn. How are you taking responsibility for your most public self as a means to offering the care and intention we all need at home and with family? Cancer moon. So I found this quote on Instagram that I thought really spoke to this polarity. And this quote is from Joanna Hedva, who is the author of Sick Woman Theory. This is what Joanna writes. Quote, "The most anti-capitalist protest is to care for another and to care for yourself." Anti-capitalist, or Saturn and Capricorn here, with the square to Eris and Aries, the warrior feminine, and this Cancer new moon, to care for yourself and another. She continues, or they continue, to take on the historically feminized and therefore invisible practice of nursing, nurturing, and caring. To take on the historically feminized and therefore invisible practice of nursing, nurturing, and caring. to take seriously each other's vulnerability and fragility and precarity, and to support it, honor it, and empower it. I'm going to repeat some of these. To take seriously each other's vulnerability and fragility and precarity, and to support it, honor it, and empower it. To protect each other, to enact and practice community, a radical kinship, an interdependent sociality, a politics of care. That's Joanna Hedva, who is a genderqueer Korean American contemporary artist, writer, and musician working in Los Angeles, is the author of Sick Woman Theory and the novel On Hell. And of course, Joanna is a Taurus sun with a Cancer moon. The image that I want to leave you with here on this Cancer new moon is stunning, beautiful, and shocking. And it's this photograph that was taken by Dave Killen, and it's a powerful representation of our current astrological energy. You may have seen it. It happened literally last night, the same day as I'm recording this, at 1 a.m. this previous morning. And it is of a naked woman wearing only a face mask and a stocking cap. And she's sitting in the middle of the street, and she's facing police force with open legs. This happened in Portland, Oregon. So a naked woman wearing only a face mask and a stocking cap faces police force with open legs. She's peacefully protesting in this very vulnerable position, receptive to being attacked. So she's symbolizing the incredible power of the lunar feminine that's available to us on this Cancer new moon. If you haven't seen it, look it up. I'd even pause right now and just look it up, or look in the newsletter that I sent out. It's there. So powerful lunar feminine energy, right? In the face of opposition, the police force may speak to us of the severity of Saturn and Capricorn opposition. When we look at this photo, she's got 1 foot on land, which is the pavement, and 1 foot on water, which is the sewer entrance, right? The top to the sewer. So this image is so evocative of, we could say, the symbology that we might find in the duality of the High Priestess, which, by the way, you could also put the High Priestess on your Cancer altar. High Priestess connects us to the energy of the moon, Cancer's ruling planet. It also speaks to us of the symbology present in the Temperance card, 1 foot on land, 1 foot on water. So meditating on this image, when you look at it, I'm struck by the symmetry of the traffic cones. It reminds me of the High Priestess's columns. But I'm also struck by the fact that her left foot, which is the feminine and receptive side of the body, is being placed on the sewer entrance, which is also referred to as a manhole. So with Pluto in Capricorn, the sewage, the underworld, we're diving deep into the underworld of Capricorn. A cesspool of centuries of dormant patriarchal waste, Pluto in Capricorn. And so this photograph, it's stunning, it's shocking. It's also being referred to as Naked Athena. And right now, asteroid Pallas Athena is also in the sign of Capricorn at the 19th degree. Please check out this image. It's so Cancer new moon, and it is so evocative of what we're moving through at this moment in time. Again, always, thank you for tuning into the show. As I said previously, I have a new workshop download available for pre-enrollment, Mars, Divine Ambition, an intuitive journey of self-realization. So check that out. Also, astrology readings available. If you enjoy this show, please consider leaving a comment, review. 5 stars would be preferred. Send it to a friend or a loved one. You can sign up to become a Patreon for the show. This is a free offering from my heart to yours. Any donation helps. So there's links in the show notes for that. Thank you as always for being here. Sending love your way. Take sweet care, cousins. And remember, deep breaths.